I remember it like yesterday when Matt came down the stairs and said so casually with a smile, I booked a one-way ticket to Santiago, Chile. I thought to myself, is this real? Can we really leave our amazing careers, friends, and family? Fast forward 10 months later, after all the hard conversations, endless checklists, and heartfelt goodbyes, we were heading to the airport with one backpack each, about to set out for a multi-year adventure around the world. Filled with excitement, we had no idea what to expect, but we knew it would be a fun ride. Join us as we share what we are learning on our journey of a lifetime. This is Passport Joy Travel Talk with Nikki and Matt Javit.
All right, thanks for tuning in today. We are sitting in Tallinn, Estonia, in an Airbnb. It's a little flat. It's gorgeous weather. We got the windows open. So if you hear any feedback during the podcast, that's what it is. We kept the windows open, so there's a few passersby, but we are loving it. We are wrapping up our European spring and summer. We got here April 21st in Munich, and we're wrapping up with Estonia before we head off to Japan for 6 weeks. So we are super geeked to get to Asia and enjoy all that's ahead of us there, starting in Japan. I cannot believe it's 6 weeks in Japan. It's just going to be amazing. But our European stay has been so much fun and so awesome. So again, I'm Matt Javit next to Nikki Javit, and we've been traveling for over 17 months now, and we're putting it all together on this podcast and our website, passportjoy.com. And the hopes is to share you tips to help you with your weekend getaways or long-term travel or vacations. And today we have an awesome tip around house sitting and pet sitting that we just experienced in Zurich, Switzerland. So we're going to share first kind of our take on what it's like to do our first pet sit and the website, and try to teach you everything you need to jump in if it's something that you want to do. And then we do a short take on what we thought of Zurich, Switzerland, and everything that came with that. And if you're just getting caught up on the podcast or our website, I would encourage you to go to the Journey So Far tab at passportjoy.com. It breaks down all the places we've stayed month by month, country by country, and it's an easy one page that I've built to kind of walk you through that. It also has great links in there to connect you to all of our experiences from India to Vietnam and Ecuador and Galapagos Islands and things like that. So you can get on there and check that out. And if you can, please sign up for the weekly newsletter also at passportjoy.com. This is where we send out weekly highlights every Thursday on everything that we've just experienced and all that we're going to be seeing in the coming weeks that we might not be able to share on the podcast itself. All right, that is it. Let's get into this episode. Right. We're going to talk to you about house sitting and pet sitting and the general concept, how to get it done right, the websites, everything about it, our experience, and just the overall fun of just a pet sitting in a foreign location. So the concept in general is, as travelers, you go to somebody else's house and you watch their home and or their pets for a duration of their choosing. And during that process, you're taking care of their house. And you're making sure their pets are happy and healthy as well. So the website that we decided upon is called trustedhousesitters.com. And we discovered it after we had already been on the road. So we didn't really know about it before. And then once we hit the road, we dug in deeper and we set up a profile and we got it going. And we just had a chance to do our first one. We wish we would have known about it earlier for several reasons. The main reason is when we were traveling non-long-term form like we are now, when we go on vacations or long weekends, we'd have somebody come to our home to watch our two dogs. We both came into our marriage 13 years ago with each having a dog. My Willie ended up living 14 and a half amazing years, and Nikki's Levi ended up being 15 and a half years old before he passed. And during that process of traveling, we would have to have people come to our home. We would have people actually stay at our place, watch our condo, and watch the dogs in the process. And we would spend money on that. And then we'd also have kind of the same relationship that these websites provide now, but is usually friends that would do it. But so now fast forward as we're on the road and we're seeing these opportunities, this trustedhousesitters.com gives you the chance to find places around the world to watch pets, or just a home where somebody might just want to have activity in that home while these folks are on vacation, or while they're going long term. Maybe they're expats that live in Thailand. They're going back to Canada or the US for 3 or 4 months at a time, and they need somebody to watch their house. So that's the overall concept. And so we just want to talk to you about it. It's amazing. We wish we'd have known about it earlier, but we're happy we know about it now. And we're going to just talk about that overall process. So I guess to get you started, the idea of you get on a website, what does that look like, and how do you kind of narrow and filter and talk about that process?
Yeah, so it sounds too good to be true, right? We did a 3-week long house sit in Horgen, actually, a little bit outside of Zurich, Switzerland, and it was so awesome. So anyways, just to bring you to the Trusted House Sitters website, how it works, it's simple. Once you have an account set up, and we'll go through that with you, but once you have your actual profile and everything set up, you can either go on the website and put where you'd like to house sit or pet sit on there, so like a specific area. So let's just say you wanted to go to Switzerland like we did. You can type in Switzerland, and you can put your dates, like from when to when. And you can put, if you're flexible, by plus or minus 7 days, and then what pet type you're willing to house sit for. So it can be any animal. You can choose that if you're super adventurous, or you can be very specific in the type of animal that you're willing to watch. And when I do this, I'm specific in the animal that I'm willing to watch. I've never watched farm animals in my life, so I don't really sign Matt and I up for that type of adventure, but they have anything from cats and dogs to small animals like reptiles and fish. And then you can get anything into your like farm animals. So you have farm animals, poultry, they have horses on there. They even have hosts that have birds and small pets. So I'll do small pets because I did grow up with like gerbils and guinea pigs and things like that. So I guess if I were to score a house sit like that, I think I'd be able to like hone my younger days back and be able to feed some food pellets to some animals. But other than that, what I typically do is I'll just type in an area where I think that we want to go. I'll put in a time frame of when to when if we don't have any plans for that time. And then I'll typically click like dog, cats, and small pets and see what comes up. And then another way that I'll search would be like I will put no place and I'll just put a certain time frame. So if it's from April 1st until July 1st, I'll just type in from April to July. Again, choose the dog and cats and small pets and see what pops up. And it can be anywhere from, throughout the world. So it's awesome in the fact that if you have a lot of flexibility and really have no plans of where you want to be, the possibilities are truly endless.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, like Nikki was saying, if you know, like you're trying to do some international travel, you're trying to get outside of the norm of what you're doing, you want to see a great location in a different way, you can go on the website and just mess around. And you don't necessarily have an account. There's hacks, and when you go to the website, you can see there's hacks where you can kind of play around to look at it. Because Nikki and I were doing that when we first found out about it. We didn't have a profile yet, and there's only so much you can do without a profile. But you can go on there and look at the potential house sits in an area that you're looking for. So you can type in Ireland and look it up, or you can type in South America or whatnot, and you can find the types of house sits that are potentially out there to kind of mess around to see if it's something you'd want to do. And I highly encourage you to do that if this sounds interesting to you. But then you can then understand like what kind of neighborhoods are these in? What kind of cities are they in? Is this something that I would really want to take the jump in and do it? Then you can maybe build a vacation around it, right? So if you go to, I'll just pull a city up. If you find one in Lima, Peru, and you always wanted to go to Machu Picchu, you could potentially go to Machu Picchu for 7 days and do the whole Machu Picchu travel, and then also couple in whatever the timing might be with this Lima house sit or pet sit for 5 to 7 days. And then you have 2 weeks in Peru, half of that being in an authentic location, not authentic, but a more authentic stay in Lima because you're in a home in the neighborhoods. And I promise you, when you're staying in homes and neighborhoods, that's why we love Airbnb so much and we love this so much. You get to really understand how the people are living. And it's such a different way to travel. But yeah, so that's just a thought. And as you're looking at the website, There are regions around the world that have more of these. For instance, Europe is going crazy with house sits and pet sits. Australia is really big. Ireland is big. The US is catching up. But there's some spots that they're going to be more competitive, like South America. Now we're finding out Asia is hyper competitive. But they do pop up. There are opportunities to do it. And if you continue to search around and stay on the website, you might be able to find something that you really like. Okay.
And to piggyback off of what Matt was saying, making something into another trip, going to Lima and then maybe hitting over and seeing Machu Picchu and going over to Cusco. At our recent stay, our host told us that the cats that we were watching could be without us for about 24 hours. So that would also be an option for you to do a nice day trip. So if in an area that you were staying, maybe there's a surrounding area you would like to visit, and that was a type of home where you had a pet that allowed you to do that. So mainly like probably reptiles or cats, not a dog, which needs to be walked every day. But, our cat that we watched had a cat door where the cat could let itself outside and it did not use a litter box. And it would let itself inside and eat dry food that was already set out for it. So it was just an ideal situation. Although we didn't really have to do that or stay away from the cat for 24 hours, it was an option for us. And it would have been a nice one in case we wanted to maybe hike in the Alps or do something like that. So that's another fun thing to be able to do.
And just talking about the animals as well, again, you do want to pay attention when you're reading these profiles because some animals need a lot more care. We actually looked at a situation recently where the dogs had diapers. And if you've never dealt with dogs that are wearing diapers, sadly, our Willie had a diaper for over a year, but it can be a lot of work on a daily basis. So you got to understand what you're willing to encounter on your vacation, or if you're doing long travel, obviously it's more of your lifestyle, but it's something that as you're looking through the profile, it might seem like, oh, this will be great to go here. But remember, once you get there, you got to have the duties to do, and it's not going to be as perfect as you think it is. So you want to really look at how much of the work you really want to sign up for.
Okay, so I wanted to just take you guys real quickly through how you would set your profile up and just talk about that. So it costs $119 per year to have this account. And quite honestly, it may sound like a lot to you especially if you're on a budget or whatever it may be, but, or if you're not sure this is something that you're going to use. But let me just tell you, if you do score even just one pet sit or house sit. And let me tell you why I'm saying pet or house sit. Pet sit would be, a place that you were to go and there would be an actual pet at a place. And a house sit would be somewhere that you would go where someone just honestly wants some sort of animated presence in their home. And there are actually gigs on this website where there are people who don't have animals. They are going away on vacation. They don't want their home to not have anyone in it for several weeks or even months at a time. And they want you to be able to water their plants or pick up their mail or make sure that, there's nothing going on or that things are working properly. And, they may ask you to clean up, do some like cleaning and dusting while they're gone. And I can totally appreciate that because we still own a condo right now and we have friends that are graciously helping us out with this back at home. So why I'm saying this is that if you do score a house or pet sit and you're paying the $119 for a year and you're doing this in a place that costs a lot of money to live, like the cost of living is high, you get your money back. $119 is pretty much how much it costs to stay in an average hotel. I mean, 5-star hotels are much more expensive than that. And so just having 2 nights in an Airbnb is going to cost you $119. So it's definitely well worth it. And the experience itself is, something you can talk about forever. But anyways, so it's $119 to sign up for an account. And how you do is you set up once you pay that, you have access to their entire database. And then what you do is there's just like a little section that's called About Us. And you would just simply put information in here about where you're from, what you're doing. And then there's a section
section called Why We Want to House Sit. And here you can explain why you want to house sit, why you want to pet sit, like why is this something that you want to do? And it really lets your host know like why this is something that is important to you. Are you doing it because you're traveling the world? Are you doing it because you love pets? Are you doing it because you're a vet? Are you a student, etc.? And then there's a section called Our Experience. And so this is where you can brag about yourself and really talk about, have you ever pet sit or house sit before, your experience with pets in general? Have you been a previous pet owner? Do you currently have pets? And then this is where you can get savvy with it. So even if you've never pet sit before, this is where you can put links to your accounts, like your professional accounts, such as your LinkedIn account, just to speak volumes of how professional you are. Or you can put links to your Airbnb reviews to show people how courteous and how clean you are at your stays where you stay around the world during your travels. So when you go to your host's home, they can rest assured that you're not going to tear their place up. It's just basically a place where you can basically show your personality to your host. So those are essentially the sections on where you can really describe yourself, etc. And then there's a whole photo album that you can upload a picture, a profile picture, pictures of yourself, either taking care of pets, of your travels around the world, or whatever you want your host to see of you. And then the section that I really like to talk about is the security of trusted house sitters in general, because with that, like security for me and security for the host. So you get to choose the level of how secure you want to look to your host. So they call it trust badges. And so how these trust verifications work is that so everybody can be at peace of mind just for you coming into their home and for you in general going to someone else's house, is that there's a basic level of security, and it's called the basic level trust badge. And essentially what that is they're verifying your email address, your phone number, and references. Now, these references that you provide have to be from employers, from previous landlords or your current landlord, or from previous pet sits or house sits that you've done. And then they have what are called character references. Character references can only be submitted by individuals who are not related to you. So you can't have your mom or your dad or your sister write a note on your behalf. It has to be someone else. And you send them an email template, they fill it out, it's turned into trustedhousesitters.com. And then once they are approved, then they are actually visible to see by all as a reference letter, electronic reference letter on your profile. So that's the basic level. Then the next level above that would be the standard level, where they do an identity check, and you would simply take a picture of your passport, the photo section of your passport or government ID. And what they do is they make sure that like the visual image scan is they're confirming essentially that your passport has not been reported as lost or stolen or compromised, and that you are who you are. And then the next level above that, which Matt and I chose to do, which is the most secure, is called the enhanced level. And you're submitting to doing a criminal background check. And you pay an extra $20 to do that, but basically ensures your host that you're not a criminal. So I really like that in the fact that your host can know that you are who you are when you're coming to their home. And again, like the reviews, I think are a really nice touch as well. So you can say all you want about yourself in your profile, and I could write the nicest things about myself, but it's also nice to have others writing in on your behalf and for your host to be able to read those reviews about you. So essentially that is what your profile is, and that's what they're going to see. And as you go along and as you do house sits and, you travel around the world, or even if you're not traveling around the world, I think it's always a good idea to continuously update your profile, keep it fresh, and if you continuously interact with pets, to definitely upload your photos so they know that you're having contact with animals.
Excellent. And then, so you're probably sitting there like we were at one point, and you're like, okay, what if I've got this profile, I see these amazing opportunities, but I don't have any reviews yet. There's references from your friends and family and all that stuff, but then how do you get reviews from the people that you're actually pet sitting or house sitting for? And we were there. It's difficult. And like Nikki said, you got to be creative to help the homeowners want to choose you in the first place. And then also, we didn't talk about it. It's the then there's typically I'm sorry if we're going to talk about this already, but the interview process, once you actually win one of these, so as you're trying to build out your reviews, you can, like Nikki said, have links to other profiles on social media to kind of validate who you are, so they like you. But then as you approach how you want to go about building your status on the website, I think the best thing to do, if you're thinking about this in a year or two down the line, the best thing to do would be to do it as quickly as possible in your local area. So if you live in St. Louis and you want to either on a weekend watch a couple of dogs in St. Louis, you can easily just look up dates of a weekend that you don't have a lot of obligations, and you could do a pet sit in St. Louis. And either you can stay in that person's home, or maybe you work out a deal where you don't have to stay there. You can just work out of your home or live out of your home and just go over to help the animals out. And you can build your profile that way to get a review that way. Or if you were in St. Louis and you wanted to go visit Chicago for the weekend and you wanted to go see a new city, you could find pet sits in Chicago and build your profile that way and do it on a very kind of localized basis. So you're looking forward to building out to having 8 to 10 amazing reviews on your profile, knowing that at some point you want to go to Ireland and have 2 weeks in Ireland when you're watching a couple of cats in an amazing home overlooking the sea, or you're trying to visit Italy and you're trying to keep your costs down. So you find a pet sit in Venice. So those are ways to do it to kind of build your profile on a less, I guess, in a more cost efficient way around you quicker.
Okay, so now that we've talked about how to build up your profile and just how to search for house sits or pet sits in general, now I can start talking about how we apply for pet sits. So once you find out, a place that you'd like to visit, or maybe a time frame of when you can go and travel, and it really doesn't matter where you want to go, or you just find a house sitting gig or a pet sitting gig on Trusted House Sitters that you really, piques your interest, you just click on the house sit that you like after reading the profile, seeing that it fits your personality, and you can contact the host or owner directly via a private message. And essentially what this is you're applying for a job. And within this is they can see your online profile, they can see your online pictures that we discussed, they can see all of your online references and all of the links that you have put inside of your profile, the links that we talked about, like your LinkedIn links, your Airbnb links, or any other things that you've put in there. But now you are actually applying for this house sitter pet sit that is posted online for X date to X date in this amazing city that you have found. And the other awesome part about this is that you can see how many other potential people are applying for, or have already, I should say, applied for the same position as you. So let's just say, for example, I want to go to Bangkok, Thailand, and I want to go at the end of July. I can now see for watching this dog in Bangkok, Thailand, that either 0 to 3 applicants have applied for this job online, because it shows you underneath the host's website that that's how many people have applied. It doesn't show the exact number. It shows you, like a range. And now I'm going to contact, let's just say the owner's name is Sally. I'm going to contact Sally via a private message through Trusted House Sitters website. And I'm going to apply to Sally and tell Sally why she should pick me and why I'm the best person to watch her dog. So it's almost like a cover letter for your CV, so to speak, that she already has access to online. And so you basically want to just try to sell yourself. So in addition to everything that she already has access to, you want to tell her why you're the best candidate. And it's basically off of what you've read. So what does Sally's dog require? Does Sally's dog require extra care? And we had mentioned before, Matt and I had a dog that required diaper changes for over a year. We've taken care of sick pets. We know how to medicate pets. There's things like that maybe you have seen that you're willing to take care of. And maybe Sally's dog requires all of these things. And so you can let Sally know that you would be the best candidate because you know how to take care of a dog that needs to be in diapers and that is ill, and that you're the best candidate because X, Y, and Z. And so you really just try to sell yourself. Also, being flexible on your dates goes a long way. So if Sally is leaving at the end of July, but she doesn't know when she's going to return because she's going to the States and she hasn't purchased her plane ticket yet, but you let her know that you're world travelers and that you can be there on July 28th, the day that she wants the assignment to start, and that don't worry about it because if you need to leave for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we're completely flexible on our dates. You may be more appealing than the next candidate that has applied. So there's a lot of things that come into play where you can write your application in and let them know why you are the best person that you should be picked over the other person. So that's how you apply. And then when you send in your application, you can see that it has been sent and that it's unread. And then when the actual host or owner of that pet reads your application, then trusted house sitters will then show you a notification in your inbox of when your application has been read. I really like the process just because it's very easy. It's very simple. You essentially just write an electronic application off, you send it, and you can see when it's read.
Talk about the number of how it shows you the number of applicants that have applied, but the ranges, so you can understand what ranges are important.
So I mentioned you can see on the person's profile the ranges. So the reason I think that's important is because I feel like when you apply earlier on in the process, that maybe that the owner doesn't want to have to sift through like tons and tons of emails. So being on the website constantly and looking around and getting in and being one of the first applicants puts you first in line. So if you're first in line and you're 0 to 3, you could be anywhere from number 0. So you could be the first person, you could be second person or third person. And then when the next set of people apply, you can be 4 to 7. So I think it's if you're really wanting to do a house sit and there's a particular area that you're very interested in, I think this comes into play. The numbers come into play then. So if you really want to go to Bangkok, Thailand during a certain specific time, I think knowing the range of numbers comes into play then, and it being very important then. And it also obviously comes into play to be first in line because I've seen house sits where there's like over 51 applicants, and I'm not even sure if I had 51 applicants for someone house sitting my house or pet sitting my dog, if I came to applicant number 4 and they seemed completely amazing, if I would go through the remaining applicants. So I always like to be, first in line. So I think it's really important that if you have a very specific place and a very specific time that you're shooting for, to be first in line. And I also do, like I said, think it comes into play when just in general.
And I'm not sure if I know this. Do they tell us a cutoff date of when they're going to, like hypothetically, they're traveling on July 30th. Do they post on the website that they'll make their decision by July 1st, or is it's very open? And that's one of the annoying things, that you don't really know when they're going to make their decision. And that goes back to getting in early is probably a good idea, because sometimes you will look at the website and there's like 30 applicants in the process. So can you talk about how the transparency of the interview process?
So there's no cutoff dates. I've never seen a cutoff date or anyone put a cutoff date. The process itself, it can become frustrating. At times I've put out 10 applications for upcoming house sits that are in the near future, meaning 2 weeks away, that have just recently been posted, or house sits that are in the far future, which are 2 months away, where I can see clearly through the website that they have not even read my application yet, and they still have their listing posted. I've never seen to this date anyone listing will make decision by, or anyone stating that, they will contact me by a certain date. So it can become frustrating because you do put a lot of time, effort, and energy into your applications. It's not like I have a template that I just, cut, copy, and paste and send over. Each application that I do is tailored to the host. Every animal is completely different depending on if it's a cat or a dog, or what the animal's needs are, or where you're traveling to, or what the homeowner is asking you to do on top of what they're asking you to do with their pet. So yeah, I mean, it can become frustrating, but you just have to put in a lot of applications and hope that someone sees your profile and wants you to, watch your house and feels that you're the best candidate and hopefully gets back to you. And I wish they did have cutoff dates because it would make it a lot simpler and then you could make the rest of your travel plans. But as of right now, they do not have cutoff dates.
Yeah. And as with, I guess, our long-term traveler audience, those that are flexible as we are, and we're not ultra flexible, as you guys might know, but we try to, there's times when we can be more flexible. And that's when we can do some last minute opportunities like this, but those can become frustrating as well, because if things pop up for the homeowners and they're like, hey, we need somebody in 2 weeks to watch our 2 dogs in this location, and then we're on top of it, like Nikki's on the website, she responds quickly, and then we're sitting there waiting, but at the same time we want to be flexible, but at the same time we got to book something soon because it could be more transportation or we got to have cover up, or we have to have a second option for housing and stuff like that. So that's where you just got to, I guess, take the website for what it is, and you're still dealing with humans that are with their homes. So there's a little bit of that. And it's one of those things too, that as you're reading profiles, I think your gut will tell you some things, and their responsive level. I think it's one of those human factors that you kind of just got to use your gut and go with it and see how much you like it. I guess our first house sit, just a high level of how that went. Obviously we loved it, or we wouldn't be talking about this right now. It was in a town called Horgen, Switzerland. It's just outside of Zurich. It's about 20 minutes via train, and it was a cute little town. It was an awesome home. Honestly, it was the most space that we've had in an accommodation since we've left on our travels. So for Nikki and I to have that much space by ourselves was an extreme treat. And their cats were amazing. 2 gorgeous, sweet, loving 5-year-old cats that did not get along with each other, but they got along well with us, and they were amazing. It was to be able to, as you guys know, Nikki and I are pet lovers for sure. We love animals, and for us to be able to have 3 weeks with cats every day coming by and letting us pet them and just hang out with them and take care of them, and it was just fun. It was funny because I didn't grow up with cats. But I had one. Sylvester was his name when I was in like 6th grade, and I forget how the tragic end of him came because my parents were never truly honest about it. But it was in the winter. I'll just say that. But our cats were not like I never had cats that would like walk with you with like personality. And in this instance, we'd like go get them and they would follow me home like a dog would. I've never had a chance to be around cats that were that loving and knew their names as well as they did. And so it was a lot of fun to do that for 3 weeks. And the homeowners were fantastic, just kind people. And to have a chance to interact with them over dinner before and after their trip was amazing. And it gave them a chance to have a fun trip on the road and not have to think about it. And the interaction while they were gone was minimal because there was trust between both of us to know that we were going to take care of their home and their cats. And so that was great. And it's just like taking care of their plants and just I guess having home life again. We've been living out of a backpack for 1.5 years, and just to be able to have kind of a settled arrangement was pretty cool. Great Wi-Fi, obviously, and we'd go to the grocery and get our groceries and stuff like that. So it was cool to just have that rhythm in a home of that much space and have a nice bed and things like that. So we loved it. The opportunity was fantastic, and I'm sure that we're definitely have our eye out for another one and try to see what other chances we have out there.
Yeah, it was a really great experience. And I did also want to say, for those of you out there who are thinking about trying to do a house sit or a pet sit, is that in the end, when you are done with a house sit or a pet sit, you can also rate and review the home that you have just house sat in. And the owners can rate and review the sitters who have just cared for their pets in their home. And so that in itself is another thing that you can look for on the website to really just get a feel for, if there are reviews for you to read, the type of home that you're going to go care for and the type of pets that you're going to go sit for. And so I do tend to read those too. And it's just, for me, it was an overall great experience. And although sometimes getting the house sits is not as easy as you would think it would be, you can create the most stellar profile and have the most amazing reviews and killer online profiles for every single professional thing that you have possibly had, and think that you're a rock star in your former professional life. But they're not that easy to get. But when you get them and you, like Matt said, you're able to cuddle with some pets around the world and have an amazing experience. And again, we met two awesome people. The hosts themselves were more than welcoming and accommodating, and they made us feel like, we had met two great friends that we'd be friends with for the rest of our lives now. It was just such a unique experience, and I would highly recommend it for you guys to try.
Choosing a phone plan before we left was a big deal. We knew that we wanted to be able to talk to people, talk to our family and friends back home as we traveled the world. And so a lot of research went into making sure that we got the right plan for us. And Google Fi was what we went with. We are so happy that we did that. It is not only a great plan in the United States if you're using it there locally, but when you travel outside of the US, you have the ability to get cellular data as soon as you land in countries around the world based on the relationships and partnerships they've formed in 135 countries and growing. So as soon as we land in Greece and Italy, in Peru, we had access, cellular data access, so we could update our family and friends that we were safe and everything was good as soon as we got there. The cheap call rates, they all vary throughout the world, and free international texting. And of course, you can use the free Wi-Fi when you get that in the locations that you're at. So again, the Google Fi plan, whether you're in the US or you travel a bunch, is a great plan to look at. And you can get a free $20 credit at passportjoy.com/phone. Again, passportjoy.com/phone for your free $20 credit on Google Fi. Can you imagine if you can take all your photos as you travel around the world and have them appear on a high quality frame in your office or at grandma's house that doesn't have social media presence in a touch of a button? That's possible. It really is. With the NixPlay Wi-Fi cloud frame, we use this. It has no memory sticks, easy to set up, and you push your photos from your phone, from the app, and then it appears on the frame wherever that frame is located. Whether it's in your office or, like I said, in our case, at our grandma's house, assisted living home, it appears, the photos we take there appear, and you can have multiple users. So not only our photos appear, but the nieces and nephews from our siblings appear as well. And you can use Facebook, Instagram, Dropbox, however you want to push your photos. That's how that works. The NixPlay Wi-Fi cloud frame. It's an amazing invention. It's been really cool that we use it. So again, go to passportjoy.com/frame for all their fresh deals that they have. They're uploading all the time to get a percentage off. Again, passportjoy.com/frame to check out those deals. And you can check out our other tools and tips of other products we use at passportjoy.com/tools. Again, tools, TOOLS. And you can see all the products that we enjoy while we travel the road. Zurich. All right, let's talk about Zurich, Switzerland. You just heard about our amazing house sit. So while we were there for 3 full weeks, we had a chance to see this gorgeous country. It's truly, Switzerland's a beautiful country. And the town that we were at, Horgen, was just off Lake Zurich, which is very beautiful. And it was just a lot of fun. The views were amazing and it was awesome. So coming in, the intimidating part was they have 4 official languages in Switzerland: German, French, Italian, and Romantic. What's the last one? Rätoromanisch. Looks like Romantic, but it's like a local one that nobody speaks it much anymore. But so mostly you hear German, but then at the same time, I wouldn't say everybody, but almost everybody spoke English. So it was extremely impressive. We didn't struggle with the language at all. Because people accommodate us. The Swiss franc is worth almost the exact same as the timing of this recording is the exact same as the US dollar. So that made it easy to understand how much things cost. But at the same time, everything was so freaking expensive, like mind-blowing, crazy. You can't even comprehend. This does not make sense. Expensive. And we don't. Yeah, the first Nikki when Nikki and I got there, we went to a little gyro. How you say it? Euro. Went to a little Euro shop and got the basic Euros with falafel and 2 bottled waters, $25 out the door. It was an eye opener. Early on, we understood that we were not going to go out that much, but we were going to go because we're going to go grocery shopping. And we really wanted to use the 3 weeks as a chance to work on some creative stuff at the house, take full advantage of the home and just kind of chill out at the house and just relax. But we did go on some walks, on some hikes. I did have a one meetup where I smoked cigars with a few of the local guys at a cigar pub, which was nice. And that was in Zurich. And the other thing about Zurich is the money there, man. Yes, it's expensive, but I think they'll all tell you that it's all based on the cost of living, and minimum wage is like $25. And so they say it's the same. I never got the sense that it was the equivalent when it comes to cost of living. I still felt like it was extremely expensive, even if everything was relative. But that you get the cars there. We saw Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all kinds of 6-figure cars everywhere. The people walking the streets were all like custom tailored suits and just gorgeous and like big finance hub. So it was really cool to be, because I've grown up here of Zurich in the business world and as an important spot in Europe for the finance industry. So it was neat to be there and hang out. Some of the highlights, I guess, their train system, their overall transportation system is unbelievable. You can essentially get anywhere you want to via train, tram, bus, boat, ferry, whatever, cable car. I mean, they're all connected with the same payment system. So all you have to do is go to one of their little kiosks, put in the location you want to go to, and buy your ticket, which is still expensive. And that's probably where most of our costs came from, was transportation. But you put it in anywhere and you can go to the location really easy. Everything is on an easy timetable. You put it in Google Maps and you'll know exactly when and where you want to go. And it was super simple. And you can buy, if you're a savvy traveler going to Switzerland and you're going to be there for 3 to 5 days, then you can get these Swiss Pass, which they have a ton of value. So the entire train system in Switzerland is connected. You can buy these passes to go anywhere. Like for instance, Nikki and I went to a town that was pretty far away. I think it ended up being, it was Lucerne. It was gorgeous, but it was maybe an hour away or so. But and then we also went almost towards the German border at one point as well. But they're all connected. All these train systems are easily connected, and it's so simple to pay. So you can buy a pass that gets you anywhere around the country if you want. The other thing that was I liked about it was kind of all the boutiques, all the boutique shops, where in our town there was like a whiskey shop, and this guy had whiskey from all over the world, and he knew about all of it. And he was an Irish guy that just had his own whiskey shop. And there was like a butcher, like a local butcher, and then there was all these high-end tailors for these suits that you could get, and a lot of designer clothing spots. So it was kind of like boutique-y and kind of small town feel, which was pretty cool. But so I enjoyed that aspect of Zurich. And that wasn't just in our small town. That was actually in Zurich. I got a sense that, yeah, there were the big brand names with all the high-end watches and everything, but there was a lot of the like boutique stores as well. And I guess another highlight was we could actually drink the water out of the tap, which saved us money on bottled water, because as we travel, we typically have to buy bottled water, but it's good enough in Switzerland. You can just drink it straight out of the tap, which is nice.
The thing for me that I liked that we did is we did this one, I guess we'd call it a trek, where we trekked the train all the way to Uettelberg, and we basically just walked around, and you can see like the Swiss Alps in the background, and you can take a cable car down. But the funny thing is the only reason we took the cable car down was because it was suggested in some like tour guide thing blog that we read online to get some views. And we thought it would save us this tremendous amount of time, like hiking back down the mountain. But we talked to this local couple who had their son with them and a cute little dog in the cable car on our way down. And they were like, no, it just takes 10 minutes to walk back down. So like jokes on us. So anyways, but yeah, it was a really, really beautiful trek.
Yeah, in Uettelberg, they have a tower that gives you the entire viewpoint of the city. So I paid the €2 to go up in the tower. Nikki didn't go up, but I went up in this tower. It's probably, I don't even know, maybe 5 or 6 stories above this highest point on this mountain, and it gave an amazing view of Zurich and all the surrounding mountains from there. So I could do like a 360 viewpoint and check it all out. I took a video of it, so that was really cool. The other thing, we went to a couple of other towns. Went to Zug, Lucerne, and Rapperswil on just little day trips, and they're just typical Swiss cute little towns. Lucerne's a little bit bigger than Zug. Zug is good. I wanted to go there because it's a cryptocurrency hub, and it's got a few of the cryptocurrency places that I wanted to check out. It didn't really give me much insight on it, but it was still cool to see. And then Rapperswil is actually on Lake Zurich, and we took a ferry there and had a chance to walk around the town as well. And they're just cute little towns that you can just walk through, see all the shops, and kind of hang out. So that was a lot of fun. And I guess the final thing about this particular town, and I think because we ended up talking to somebody else that was in Switzerland at the same time, a traveling buddy, is the bells from the churches. It is unbelievable how often these bells go off of these churches. In our particular town, they went off at every hour, and then there was a big bell, and then every 15 minutes there was like smaller bells, and it didn't stop. It never stopped. It was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It was all night, all day long. And then at particular times, I think it was 7 a.m., there would be like a 5 to 10 minute version where they would really go nuts with the bells. And then on Sundays, there was about a 15-minute bell musical. It was a lot right before church. So that was interesting, but it was nice. We really, really enjoyed Zurich, Switzerland, and it was just gorgeous. I mean, it was one of those things where it's so structured and organized between the transportation and the people and how everything works, and safe, and just gorgeous and clean. It felt like almost a different world. It was so perfect. It was almost too expensive to appreciate a lot. And we always hate to bring price into travel, but in the reality though, you kind of have to think about it in this regard, because it was expensive. But luckily we had the situation we had with the house sit, and we had a chance to take advantage of a free location. But overall, we absolutely loved Switzerland. Hope to go back someday and take advantage of the Alps maybe a little bit more, and see some of the sites that we did not get a chance to see. All right, thank you so much for listening. That is it for this episode. As always, please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. This really helps Nikki and I get in front of new travel listeners that might not be aware of our story. And also, thank you so much for leaving great reviews like this one from Abby, titled "Every Day I'm Hustling." Love that title. You guys are the best. Each episode is better than the next. Love hearing your voices and your stories as you continue this amazing adventure. Thank you so much, Abby, for taking the time to leave that review, and everybody else that's leaving reviews. It really does help us a lot, and we're appreciative of that. Please check out the important links from today's episode at the passportjoy.com podcast tab, especially for the discount at trustedhousesitters.com. We have a discount that we give to you, and you'll get that from the notes there. And you can follow along on our weekly newsletter by signing up at passporttour.com. There you'll get the latest blog posts, information, travel tips, and anything else we can share during the week that we might not be able to have a chance to talk about in this podcast. And as always, we'll be back. We're heading off to Japan. Super excited about that and looking forward to sharing that information with you when we get there. Thanks.